Thanks for joining us. In order to support us to produce Clancy's Kitchen, you can donate as little as €5 or $5 a month and gain access to exclusive content. Just go to www.patreon.com/Clancy's Kitchen. That's www.patreon.com/Clancy's Kitchen. Enjoy the podcast. Fáiltearás, Croeso Noel, welcome back to Clancy's Kitchen, the podcast. And we have a repeat guest, no less, in the kitchen with us this evening. None other than our eldest child, Lowri Clancy Davis, freshly back from New York, USA.
Hello. Hi, nice to be back.
We are thrilled to have you back. You're a little sad. You're delighted to be home, but you're also missing New York.
Yeah, absolutely missing all my friends in New York, but happy to be back after a long time. So, bit of both, mixed emotions.
It is quite a contrast, isn't it, coming from Brooklyn, New York to Ring, County Waterford?
Yes, it is a big difference.
All right. So, Lowri, you've been on the podcast before and you talked a little bit then, because you were going back to New York at that point. You spent over a year and a half there.
Yeah.
So remind people of what brought you to New York and your experiences and your impressions.
Okay. So I went out to New York on a graduate visa and I was working at Paladin Artists, a music agency. And I had an absolutely amazing time, like the time of my life. It was incredible. I got to meet, as this is a folk podcast, I'll talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
So I got to meet a lot of folk musicians my time there. I got to meet Billy Bragg, who's obviously like folk punk kind of combo. It was so lovely to meet him in person and to see him at Webster Hall in New York, to see him perform. And he just kept the audience alive, like, because obviously he's a socialist and, you know, he...
Politically activist and...
Exactly. And, you know, a lot of what got the audience going was how he spoke during his sets as well. Like, between the songs and stuff, it was like, you know, incredible to see, like, the energy in the place when he was performing.
What was he saying between his songs? Was he commenting on the political situation?
Exactly. He's a really... person of the people, I suppose.
Yeah. The big Labour
anti-fascist,
supporter,
anti-racism, all of that. So he's incredible.
And you took him out to dinner?
Oh yeah,
lunch,
we went for dinner before or whatever. Yeah. Which was super nice. I also got to meet, just speaking of like the young folk scene and the emerging scene, one of the first shows that I went to in Brooklyn, around the corner from my house in a place called Brooklyn Made, was a band called Shallow Alcove, and they were incredible, kind of Americana, folky, indie vibes. It was so nice to hang out with them in the green room and then, you know, see them in concert. It was incredible. So
Benji's getting jealous here because I'm giving you my attention, not him.
New York is an incredible place for meeting people like that. And
can I just come in here as dad? Did you really feel that when you went to New York? Because it's always been a hotbed of culture and music, and especially when we think back to the 60s, towards Greenwich Village.
Yeah. I hung out in Greenwich Village a little bit. It was funny. I went to see the Bob Dylan movie.
That's where, of course, as you know, your grandfather and the Clancy brothers went in the 1950s when they went to New York. It was Greenwich Village.
And going to see the movie and seeing a picture of the Clancy brothers in the film, it was like, wow.
Bob Dylan,
and then going to see where they would have played in Greenwich Village, like the White Horse Tavern. And there's definitely a revival of that going on right now as well. Definitely.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
was lucky enough to perform with the Irish Centre in New York. George and Fiona are doing an amazing job there. They had me to sing on St. Patrick's Day and a few of their events, and it was so lovely to see so many folk singers. Yeah. Like Susan McKeown and her daughter Róisín McKeown.
She was in college with me, Susan McKeown.
Yeah.
She was in UCD with me. I'm delighted to hear she's brilliant, obviously, without her daughter singing with her. So, like, you know, you mentioned there, you know, the scene, like it's one thing going to New York, but I guess like what I'm thinking is when I went to the States first, well, not first, I went to the States first as a kid, but I suppose as an adult when I went to the States, different situation to you in that I had a green card and, you know, sadly, your visa eventually ran out and that's why you had to leave. Otherwise, you'd have stayed on there. But God, I'm talking nearly 30 years ago now, and that was Boston. And I remember when I landed in Boston, you know, as what was I, maybe 23 years of age, and my sister Aoife was there. And it was like an immediate acceptance into a club, or you belonged. You straight away, you belonged. You were Irish. You were in like Flynn, as they say.
100%.
You know, you wanted to jaw people, you know,
Being
here's who
Irish,
you need to talk to.
And
did you have that experience in New York? Like,
100%.
What did it mean, apart from being a young person going to New York, but being a young Irish, Welsh person going to New York? Like, how did that... You know, did it open doors for you? How was that experience?
Of course. Like, I actually lived in a house full of Irish people. I was added into a group chat immediately of like hundreds of Irish people who were in New York and always connecting. It was like, there was Irish networking events that I went to that there was just Irish there. If people picked up on your accent, they would be like, "Oh, you Irish? Oh my God.
Isn't that amazing?"
My granny was Irish, or, you know, it lives on there, of course.
It really does,
yeah, 100%.
doesn't it?
And it does open doors for you. I feel less special now that I come home. It's like, oh, no one cares about me anymore, and, you know.
Yeah.
Now I have an American accent over here instead of having an Irish accent over there.
Bloody boat. Here.
I'm sorry, love, but the
Any
Welsh just are not as popular as the Irish, and you're just going to have to accept that. I suppose, look, it's our history. It's, you know, due to the famine. You didn't have a famine in Wales. You know, what was the worst year of the famine? 1847. I think I read somewhere between probably a year or so after, you know, the 1848, let's say from there on into the 1950s, 2.5 million Irish people emigrated to the United States. Isn't that amazing?
It's a lot.
And of course,
people.
where would they land? But New York, Boston, you know. And I remember myself, as I said, when I landed in Boston going, wow, this is like... You're immediately accepted. When I went from there to Los Angeles, California, it was, although, you know, people were very warm and very welcoming, but being Irish wasn't particularly anything special.
Yeah, I suppose there's more of that on the East Coast than the West Coast for sure.
Yeah.
There's more of a legacy, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Defo.
So while you were there, as you said, you worked for Paladin, and I think one of the groups they represent is the High Kings.
Of course.
Right.
I went to see the High Kings play at Tarrytown a couple of weeks, not too long before I left, actually, which was a full circle moment, I suppose. It was lovely.
Yeah.
And the crowd was electric, and like... You know, obviously I wanted to meet Finbar, my uncle, afterwards, but there was just queues and queues of people coming up to take pictures with them and big fans and everything. So it was a lovely thing to see that scene is going strong as well.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question there? Did you find the reaction to a band like the High Kings different? You'd seen them in Ireland, but... seen them in America, was the audience reaction different?
To be honest, I don't think you're ever going to beat an Irish audience. I think that an Irish audience is a bit livelier than an American one, dare I say. Sorry.
Really?
That offends anyone. But from what I remember being a kid going to... What's that? The Waterford... What was
the Royal?
The Theatre Royal and everyone's
Waterford,
clapping.
Yeah,
of course, there was a bit of that, but I think you'll never beat an Irish audience for reaction.
It's interesting you say that, because I remember going to see my uncle Lee Makem and Clancy in the Theatre Royal in Waterford, and even as a kid, I say a kid, like say 12, 14 thereabouts, and I remember feeling the buzz from the audience. You know, songs like Kagan and the Selkie, and just, you know, picking up on the atmosphere of that and the effects and the impacts of that on the audience. I think in as much as people know the songs and they sing along with them, but I think on almost, it's different, isn't it? Because again, I remember seeing the Clancy Brothers playing in the States, and the response of the audience to them was probably a little different because they were, second, even third generation, people who had maybe grown up with their songs or had heard the records from their parents or even grandparents, so you're responding on a different sort of level then. It's almost like nostalgia.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, Lowri, apart from observing all the Irish groups, you are yourself a musician and a singer, and you did some DJing, you did all kinds of things. Tell us a little bit about that. How did the DJing start in New York?
So I started to, I kind of got into the DJ scene because one of my friends, Tauntaun, shout out Tauntaun, he just came out with a new song today.
Yay, so Tauntaun. What's it called? What's the song called?
It's called Bring Ya Booty.
Bring Ya Booty.
Bringing out what?
Bring Ya Booty. Bring Ya Booty. He's also a bass player, but we did some stuff together.
Sure.
We did some gigs together. He produced some of my songs. He's an amazing producer, amazing DJ, like so talented. But through that, I also started going to, because he's a DJ, I started going to the BK Loves UKG nights in Brooklyn, which was...
BK Loves
UKG.
Okay.
Brooklyn Loves UK Garage.
And what does that mean? What's
so
that
UK
all about?
Garage is a genre of music. It's like two-step, drums, like a little bit of techno, I guess, and rap, all in one.
Does that originate in London or somewhere like that?
Yeah. But one of the pioneers
connection.
of UK Garage actually lived out in New Jersey. But so I started going to those nights in Brooklyn, and I just fell in love with it. I was starting to fall in love with it anyway because I'd always liked electronic music, and when I lived in Dublin, I would always go to
you love dance
the gigs,
music,
dance music all the time. Like Index and stuff like that. So I was always into the DJ scene, but then once I moved to New York and Bushwick, I didn't realize how much of a DJ scene there was in Bushwick, and I just fell in love with it and started going to open decks, going to the BK Loves UKG nights, hanging out with everyone. And then the people who run that, we actually made a record label together called BK Loves Recs, or Brooklyn Loves Records, which is mainly garage, but other things as well. So and then my friend Dan Sasha Rome, the DJ, gave me his decks. He was like, I have these lying around the house, you can use them. I was like, okay. And he was teaching me, Tauntaun and him were teaching me. And then, just got into the scene.
But what's really interesting about how you go about this is you've used this, but you've reverted back to your Celtic roots in lots of ways. So you've brought in Shannon singing.
Yeah.
You've brought in there's, I remember you calling me saying, what's that poem that Bobby recited on the song that Ryland wrote, The Day Should Day, The Life That I Have. And you brought this in. So it's almost like you've developed this again to make it something contemporary and what you experience as a young Irish person, living in New York. But you've reverted back to your Celtic, Irish and Welsh roots within it.
Yeah, for sure.
So your song that we're gonna, could we take a look at that actually, Ryland?
I think we can actually. Just give me a second here.
Yeah, so this is a song that I just wrote, me and my guitar, and then I got with Tauntaun and we started talking about what we could do with it. And I thought it'd be really nice to add a Shanos element.
So you started off with Shanos?
Yeah, I started listening to Peg Clancy's album with Bobby Clancy, the songs that they had on their album together, like Paper of Pins, and the cheekiness
you actually
of
listened
it.
to that?
the cheeky kind of love song element, I wanted to bring that in. So like,
do you remember me singing those to you when you were young? I can't believe you remember the Peg and Bobby. Do you remember as a child me singing to you?
Yes.
Paper of Pins and yeah.
And,
do you remember it?
The other one that was
Oh, then soldier,
I'll go to the
soldier.
shop as quick as I can run.
Yeah,
yeah.
And you
We
get
used to
really
love
annoyed that he betrayed her by.
But that's what I wanted in the song. I wanted a little bit of that edginess from those old songs. I love it.
I'll give to you a paper of pins if that's the way that love begins. If you will marry, 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 if you'll marry me.
I don't want your paper of pins if that's the way that love begins. For I won't marry, 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 I won't marry you.
I'll give to you a golden ball to bounce from the kitchen to the hall. If you will marry, 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 if you'll marry me.
I don't want your golden ball to bounce from the kitchen to the hall. For I won't marry, 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 I won't marry you.
I'll give to you a rocking chair to sit in the garden and take fresh air. If you will marry, 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 if you'll marry me.
I don't want a rocking chair to sit in the garden and take fresh air. For I won't marry, 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 I won't marry you.
I'll give to you the keys of the chest and all the money that I possess. If you will marry, 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 if you'll marry me.
If you give me the keys to the chest and all the money that you possess, then I will marry, 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 I will marry you.
Ha ha ha, now I see you love my money but you don't love me. Well, I won't marry, 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 I won't marry you. You! Woohoo!
What a tune, honestly. But yeah, those are great. I love those old songs for that kind of thing. And they always tell a story as well. It's like there's always a lesson in it.
Yeah.
So absolutely love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think that's what drew you towards a type of music in
100%.
New York? Because, dance music and garage scenes, Old Man River, like myself talking about it, is actually about counterculture, isn't it?
100%. Like even at when there was protests back in the 90s and stuff, like at the protests, like there would be raves and stuff, like it would be all part of the culture.
I mean, for me, it goes back to Woody Guthrie, really, doesn't it? And that whole, like we talk about this, but there's in different places and different times in history, there's always been a revolution.
And music is always a part of it.
Of course it is.
With it.
Yeah.
And
But Woody Guthrie started it. What was it he wrote on his guitar? This guitar kills fascists.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wouldn't you like a guitar
rock and roll is
like that today,
and yet it's folk. Yeah, totally.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it is
isn't
amazing.
it great that you've been part of this in a different incursion, a different time, but you felt
100%.
it,
Yeah.
But that brings us on, I guess, to this new wave of music that, again, has its roots in folk or in traditional music. I suppose I'm thinking of Kneecap, maybe, let's say. I know it's controversial, but they're doing something
brilliant.
through the
Absolutely
traditional
brilliant.
music, through the Irish language as
Yes.
well. The language making a revival through that.
I first saw Kneecap when I was at a music festival on an island in Budapest called Ziget. And I remember hearing them thinking, they're singing in Irish. I'm all the way over here in this festival, in this remote island, and they're singing in Irish. I was so proud of them.
Where are they from? They're from Northern Ireland,
Yes.
I think. Okay. Right.
And then I had the pleasure of seeing them again in New York at Knockdown Center, and the reaction from the crowd was just like, the energy was just incredible. Like, they're just amazing. I'm so proud of them.
What is it that makes them so amazing? Like, well, what's
they're just so
shtick?
brave. They're so brave.
Yeah.
They are outspoken for what is right, and always speaking out against the oppressor, because in Ireland, you know how it is, our history.
And Wales.
And in Wales, I can hear my granddad in the back of my head saying, "You're speaking the language of the oppressor in my house."
Siarad Cymraeg.
Siarad Cymraeg. Yeah, and of course in the new wave you have people like Seamat. She's an incredible singer and outspoken. She just wrote a new song about the recession, and
Seamat,
she's not afraid to talk about politics and her experience. Yes, she's incredible. Just thinking about other folk groups, there's the Ran as well, and in college.
Who are the Ran?
By the way, the Ran are local to here.
Exactly.
And just played
they are.
Dunfords.
They're actually playing at Electric
We're
Picnic
going to have them
right
on the
now.
podcast, I believe.
I hope so, yeah. We've had some contact, yeah.
Yeah, so they're playing Electric Picnic this weekend. They're incredible.
Yeah.
Then there's also, of course, the Mary Wallopers, who are so funny as well.
They are funny. And you know the Mary Wallopers, they were interviewed on the Tommy Tiernan show, and they cited the Clancy brothers and Tommy Makem as their inspiration. Now, we have asked them to come on the podcast, but they were recording an album, but we'll get on to them again. Yeah. Because I think they're amazing, actually. They're gas again, well. It's not pure commercial stuff. Let's churn this out. Yeah. You know, Brendan Gleeson recently was talking about this in terms of how, you know, okay, look, life has changed, culture has changed, society has changed. The days of going to the pub in Ireland have changed. There was a time when we would all gather at the pub just to sing and play music. And today it is a little bit more, you know, you get bands, you get artists in to entertain people. They get paid, rightly so. But, you know, we're at an age now where we realise that the arts aren't supported enough in Ireland. And it's important to say this because, you know, tourists don't come to Ireland because of our climate or our sunshine or, you know, our food is good in Ireland, but that's not what brings them necessarily. It's music, it's the arts.
And I think we should be talking about this far more. Sometimes as artists, we tend to be quiet because we think where our bread is buttered.
And Woody Guthrie actually died a poor man, you know, and look at the influence he had over the folk revival internationally.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes. But look, it's important. It needs to be said. The last time you were on, Lowri, we were talking, and Kiva was on with you, and we were talking about, I think you had just done the Celtic Roots program. And you had mentioned earlier to me about Susan McKeown and her daughter, Róisín, and you mentioned a song that they were singing. And I remember when you did the Celtic Roots program, and we were looking at a song for every county that you were covering. And one of the ones in County Wicklow was that beautiful song, Lass of Aughrim.
Yes.
Now, I know I'm springing this on you a little bit, but wouldn't it be nice maybe for us to give that a go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Should we give that a go?
100%.
Shall we?
We'll get Ryland to play guitar on this one, maybe.
Stop that.
If you be the lass of Aughrim, I take it you mean to be. Tell me the first token that passed between you and me. Don't you remember that night on yonder hill when we were together? I'm sorry now to tell. Oh, the rain falls on my heavy locks, and the dew wets my skin. My babe lies cold within my arms, and none will let me in. If you be the last of Aughrim, I take it you mean to be. Tell me the first token that passed between you and me.
That is so beautiful.
There we go.
Yeah. And to finish off, I suppose I would like to finish with the song I wrote for Myra, my granny.
You know, we did a tribute podcast to her last time, but of course you couldn't get back at the time, and you were in New York, and Kiva was in Southeast Asia at the time.
I know.
And you did give her a lovely, at the month's mind, a lovely tradition we have here in Ireland. After someone passes, you were back for that, and the three of you, Lowri and Lowri, Kiva, and Mavi sang Go Lassie Go. But while you were in New York, you wrote a lovely song as a tribute to Myra.
I did.
Oscuilga.
So speaking of Shanos earlier, she always sang this beautiful song, Bando Vanglana.
Yes.
So I wanted to write a song for her that kind of, in that style, I suppose, of Shanos.
Lovely.
So, yeah.
Do you want Dad to play guitar on this one?
Yeah, Dad, if you could, would be great.
I will. Oh,
Yeah.
There we go.
So the lyrics in Irish mean, over the sea, I'll be looking for you, but you won't be there. Over the sea, away from Ireland, close your eyes and I'll be there.
Oh,
So it's like call and response. So I'm talking to her and she's talking back to me.
yes.
That's absolutely beautiful.
Okay, Lenorai, Glory.
Okay. Trust and Harige, be meg like to say, ach ni fake to own. Har Harige, Amachawera, Machadu de hula, agus fake me Trust and Norige, Bem Hegler to sa, ach ni fake to out. Har Norige, Amachawera, Machadu de hula, agus fake me Love you, Mommy Myra.
Mila.
That song.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
So, Lowri, future plans? You're heading to London. You're bringing all this experience from New York to London. Tell us a little bit about that. What's going to happen next?
I'd like to continue working in the music industry in London. And also DJing, but bringing, like I said, the elements of growing up in the folk sessions, singing Shanos, etc., into maybe garage or electronic music, because I think it can happen. And since I was a kid, like I always loved electronic music, slightly more so than folk. I love folk music, but
the amazing thing is that you're bringing everything you've experienced
Hopefully,
musically
yeah.
from the time you were a small child, ever since like doing the Eisteddfod in Wales, Cardant and all of this stuff that you did, and the Clancy, the folk singing tradition into it.
I want to find a way to bring it together for sure. Yeah,
I think
the next step,
our
hopefully.
musical heritage is in good hands. What do you think, Ryland?
I don't know what to say. You know, there's so many hands involved.
Lowri, my darling eldest daughter, we're so proud of you, and we wish you the very best. And we know you'll always stay true to your Celtic roots.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Gurv Míle maith agat. Join us again for Clancy's Kitchen, the podcast, and remember to like, subscribe, and look up www.patreon.com/Clancy's Kitchen. That will enable us to keep making these podcasts. Thank you so much. Gurv Míle maith agat. Diolch yn fawr. Iwa.
Iwa, Nusta.